Kia koutou. Welcome to my podcast, Learning to Listen, My Quest for Empathy. I'm Mark McKenzie, and today I'm sharing my journey of learning empathy, what I believe it means, why it's been a challenge for me, and how I'm working to improve it. Let me unravel the meaning of empathy. For myself, emotional support for a friend or family member who has suffered loss would be in the form of sympathetic support. The sympathetic support would be either a sympathy card, flowers, or a phone call expressing my sorrow for their loss. Sympathetic support at this time of loss is significantly important and very appropriate. But for me, that's where my emotional support would stop. Empathy is more than just understanding someone else's feelings. It's about feeling them with them, walking in their shoes. I'm slowly learning empathy is a foundation for connections, learning to relate to, imagine the depths of another person's emotional state or situation. My quest to understand empathy and improving connections to others in my life meant that I needed to change. I had to make concerted efforts in my quest for empathy. A significant personal story in my quest for empathy came about 4 years into my journey, when my family suffered the awful news. My oldest niece, Terry Ann, was a victim of a domestic violence incident and lay in a coma in ICU. She was a victim of a stabbing, and the prognosis was not good. For the next 18 days, the small improvements I was making in efforts to better understand empathy started to show. Changes in my attitudes to those around me started to open connections on an emotional level to family members. Yes, there were complex issues why our family connections were not strong, but the challenging time that we were going through meant we let our guard down. Unfortunately, Terry Ann's family had to make the heart-wrenching decision to switch off her life support system, assisting her to breathe. Terry Ann passed away peacefully, surrounded by her family. The empathy connections made between myself and other members were far beyond what I could imagine. It cemented family bonds. Now I need to take you back a few years before I realised I needed to change my emotional approach. At that time, I didn't understand how much my self-interest was affecting those around me. I thought I was doing well, but I missed something crucial: empathy. At that time, I was working long hours in a corporate business environment, always focused on meeting deadlines and finishing projects on time. Outside work, I would throw myself into managing a football team and being part of a leadership team of a youth group. Those roles were fulfilling, but they kept me busy, and I never fully recognised how much I neglected the emotional needs of those closest to me. One specific instance that still haunts me is with a friend from the football team, William. William was about 10 years younger than me, had a tough past, had been faced many challenges, including being a victim of a crime while in institutional care. As a manager, I knew a little bit about the background of William and did my best to ensure the team environment was safe and supportive for him. However, I didn't realise the emotional toll those experiences from his earlier life had placed on him. William was deeply committed to the team, walking, running from his flat in Aranui to our practice ground in St. Martin's, often without asking for help. When I offered to pick him up, he accepted that gratefully. Over time, we developed a strong friendship, but we really talked about our pasts. We joked about sports and his skills on the skateboard, and I missed the signs that William was struggling. When he rented a room from me in my home for 12 months, I noticed he was becoming more and more distant, but I didn't think much about it. After he moved out, I did not see him very often, and when I did, his personality had changed. He was more reserved, more withdrawn. I could tell something was wrong, but I didn't know how to reach him. I lacked the empathy to connect with him in a way that could help. I always hoped that I would get a phone call from William one day saying that all was well. Then it hit me. I needed to change. I needed to understand that true empathy isn't just about being there. It's about truly connecting with people, understanding their struggles, and supporting them emotionally. Winding the clock forward, about 3 years ago, I realised that the opportunity to express empathy was not always obvious in my daily life. So I decided to step outside my comfort zone and actively seek out experiences where I could develop and practice this emotional skill. I applied for roles in hospitals as an orderly, hoping to connect with people on a deeper and more empathetic level, but I didn't get any interviews. Then one day I attended a speech here at Avon Toastmasters. A fellow Toastmaster was giving her passionate speech about her role as a coordinator of volunteers at the Christchurch Public Hospital. She shared here that though there was no financial reward, the emotional payback was priceless. She called it emotional salary, a concept that deeply resonated within me. I thought, what am I getting from my salaried job that offers me emotional salary? That question stuck with me. Eventually, I decided to take the leap and apply for a voluntary role. After an interview and the induction, I was training as a wayfinder, someone who helps people navigate the maze of corridors in the hospital. Soon I was stationed at the various entrances, guiding people to appointments and offering assistance with those who needed a wheelchair. The people I encountered are often nervous, anxious, reserved. Some are preparing for surgery, others are frustrated by parking issues or the long traffic lines. And while I can't change their circumstances, I learned that a smile, just a simple smile and a resonating word, could make a difference. I would often walk with them to their appointment, providing a sense of comfort in the process. Recently, I encountered a man standing at the hospital entrance. He was looking uncertain. He told me that he had an appointment in radiology and seemed visibly anxious. I offered to walk with him, and as we made our way through the hospital, I asked him how his day was going. His response was, I will know very soon. The specialist is going to tell me if I have cancer or not. I think I have it. At that moment, I didn't have the words to respond. Sometimes there are no words. But I nodded, acknowledged his fear, and we continued walking. We even had a brief moment of humour when I realised we had overshot the radiology entrance and I had to turn back. By the time I left him, we had shared a smile. It was a small interaction, but for me it was profound. Being around people who are facing some of life's toughest challenges has inspired me to keep growing in empathy. Volunteering at the Christchurch Public Hospital has shown that empathy is not just a feeling for others, it's connecting with them, sharing a moment of vulnerability, as simply as being present in their journey. So in conclusion, I encourage you, wherever you are, consider how you can apply empathy in your life, whether through small acts of kindness or by offering a listening ear. impact you can have can be profound. Empathy is a bridge to deeper and more meaningful connections to those around you. Thank you.